What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Grind Force Gaming. Nova here with another Street Fighter Duel video, and this is my second trial video that I'm putting out today, and that's because we have two new fighters today, as you guys know. The one that we're dealing with right now is going to be Trendy Dhalsim. I am not as impressed with him as I am with Jonan Ibuki, but that's okay. I'm not running a shock team, so as I mentioned in that trial video, I'm not really sure how good he is, right? Because I don't use Trendy Cami, I don't use Sagat, I don't use anyone doing any shock damage right now. So as far as like the stacking goes and the functionality of him like being a C2 unit, falling in line with what Trendy Cami's kit is doing, that's not something I can speak to because I don't use her. So I have no idea. I couldn't tell you what her skills do. I know she's a super C3 unit, so him being C2 would probably fall in line with what she's doing, but that's the extent of the knowledge that I have on that. So this trial was pretty easy. He's doing a lot of damage. He's got some really good AoE on both of his attacks that we'll be primarily using, which is his Super and C2. I was quite impressed with the amount of damage that he was doing. There is one fight specifically in this trial that is very difficult, and it's because there's a Gouken, and it's just really, really tough to eliminate that team. I timed out on it a lot until I really was just like, okay, I need to read all of the skills here for the fighters that are available and just see like what I'm missing. Like something's missing that the game really wants me to exploit, and that's the way I'm going to beat it. And I figured it out after I finally started reading. But I was trying all these different combos and things just weren't working. But aside from that one fight, it's all pretty easy. There is another one, and it's the fight after the one that we're about to watch right now. And that one you're going to need to focus on speed because it's just a really fast team that you're up against. And if you don't get your hits in first, then that team is just gonna wipe your team out. But I'll show you the combination for that, and I'll explain why that one works so well. I am really interested to see how he fits in the game and to see like where people start using him. We are in HOA right now, so I am gonna like go through everyone in the top like 50 later today and see if anyone's utilizing him. But I don't really know that he'll be used for PvP. I kind of feel like he might be more of like a PvE fighter, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. So this is the fight that I was talking about. This is a very fast team. So the way to do it is to just have Blanca on the field. Use his C1 because, you know, it's good to get that like stun going or that just that control that he has. But ideally we have him on the field here because he deals passive interrupts with his 6 out of 6 vehicles. And that's going to be the way that you're going to beat this team because they are just so fast. And since we don't have any like quick way to take out the back line, you got to hope that you can get that disruption in the early game. And then that's going to be what allows you to carry forward and then end up beating the team. So anyway, use this lineup. This one can be kind of tough, but if you use this team, you won't have a problem whatsoever. The last fight is going to be the one that I mentioned earlier, the one with Gouken. I kind of wish I spent a little bit more time playing around the trials today with him because his kit seems really good. Like I'm pretty impressed by the damage. And I think this is something that we don't see that often in the trials. Like some of the recent fighters that we've had come out, and maybe not like super recent, let's say for an example, but sometimes the trials are tough because the fighter's not that good and you're like not even using them at all, or the trial is not good because that fighter is really kind of meant for bosses. It's not meant for PvE fights. So you're not really even using them, right? You're just trying to find other fighters that you can use except for the fighter you're being forced to use. But today's trials with this new release and Trendy Dhalsim being here, I found myself using him pretty much all the time because he's doing such good damage that, I mean, yeah, is it better in like this kind of environment to use like Guile be Zangief? Yeah, of course it is. Like that's one of like the best combinations you can use in the game, even still to this day. But you don't have to because he's dealing enough damage that it actually allows you to clear things and you don't have to try to avoid the fighter that you're forced to use. I'm still waiting. I am still waiting for the day that the devs decide to let us use whatever fighters we want for this or create some other avenue for something like this where we can use whoever we want, because it's really hard to test these fighters out in these like not so ideal environments where you're being forced to use certain fighters that you don't want to use and you wouldn't normally use. And then you're making these weird team compositions just to like exploit something that it doesn't really have any like real in-game use, right? There's no real point in like learning to do some of these things. But nonetheless, you have to beat these trials. So they're a little bit monotonous and they're a little bit time consuming at times. But we're getting 5 divination tickets from each of them today. So you're getting a 10 pull for completing both of the trials. And that's really good. So if you're building anyone right now, I would say probably still just draw for them. I don't know that you need to just make the hard switch and go for Trendy Dhalsim right now. If you're working on someone else, stick with them. I'm working on Summer Ibuki right now. I'm trying to get her to SSS because I already have all of her vehicles. So I've just been, slowly kind of ticking away at trying to draw her. I'm not going to change to get him. I am not in any rush. But then again, like I said before, I don't run a shock team. I don't even have Trendy Cammy built. So what looks to me like would be the most likely pairing, I don't even have the other one built. So there's no need for me to chase this one down. But this is the fight that was quite difficult. I don't show all the fails. I probably spent 10 minutes trying to beat this one. Maybe even a little bit more than that. But it's pretty tough, and it's not because they're dealing a lot of damage. It's just because what happened more and more and more was that I was getting to just Gouken left, and I just wasn't dealing enough damage to get him down, and I was timing out. I wasn't actually losing. I was just constantly timing out on this one, which, I guess is technically losing, but I wasn't getting, my team wasn't getting eliminated. But what I had to do was use Yang's C1 to increase crit, and that was ultimately what allowed me to wipe the rest of the team sooner, which allowed me to just be able to hard focus on Gouken. And you can see even still here, it's down to the wire. I remember playing this earlier today and thinking to myself, if I don't beat this, what am I going to do? I don't want to spend any more time on this, but I did. I beat it with 3 seconds left using that team. So RNG plays a role. If you have a hard time beating that one, it's just because it's hard. It took me a long time. It's not you. Just play it back. Use that team because it worked for me. Just use that team and just repeat, and eventually you will beat it. So anyway, guys, I hope that was helpful. Thank you so much for watching. Stay tuned for more videos. Don't forget to subscribe, throw a like on the video, and comment as well. Cheers.